that time of the week one more time. It's live, and it's in the interest of the people with Larry and Benny. They're going to make you laugh, and they'll even make you mad enough to chew nails. Either way, they have you tuned in. So sit back in that easy chair and get close to a phone, because you can call and talk to them. You better get you something to drink, because you may need it also. Take it away, guys.
Welcome. I'm Benny Green. I'm here with our host, Larry Barton. Things might get a little hot tonight. Larry?
Thank you, Mr. Ben. It's indeed an honor to be back with you on this 4th of July weekend. We have 3 special guests tonight, actually 4, I think. But it's an honor to have Colonel Keith with us. We'll be talking to him shortly. We would encourage you this Wednesday night, if the rain don't kill us, we're going to have a big blowout at the Veterans Park in Talladega. We invite everyone to come out and be a part of this special occasion. There'll be singing going on, all kinds of booths and stuff being sold and whatever. Just a good time in the park. So you come on out and bring your family. And like I said, if they're saying it may have some bad weather, but if it doesn't get rid of us in that respect, we'll be there at the park. We're going to have a couple of guests, 3 guests, 2 guests running for public office. Mr. Walter Jacobson from Sylacauga, running for mayor, will be with us in just a little bit. And Mr. Ralph Bradford, running for mayor of Anniston, will be with us. And we'll be talking more about these folks in just a minute. Let me tell you about our good friend Doug Kemp before we get started. If you need any kind of insurance at all, car, house, boat, motor, trailer, pothole, whatever insurance, earthquake, tornadoes, we're getting into the season, Colonel, for all this kind of stuff. We encourage you to go by and see Doug Kemp Agency here in Talladega, and let Doug fix you up. We've shared with you so many times that if you don't have a lot of money to spend on this, take a little bit of priority. Go by and see Doug and tell him what you can do, how much you can afford each month, and let Doug design a policy to give you at least some limited coverage. You've got to have, or you're supposed to have, liability to protect your car, but you need insurance for your family, for your house, and so forth and so on. You go by and see Doug Kemp and tell him that you want to let him figure with you. I got a letter this week, Mr. Benny, from an insurance company telling me how much money they could save me. And they go down the list, they say, if you'll compare our prices with XYZ person, but I noticed when it got down, they left off State Farm. So that lets me know that they can't beat State Farm insurance. You can't beat State Farm. If you'll go by and see Doug and tell him what you want and let him compare apples with apples and oranges with oranges, I guarantee he can beat the price any given day. You go by and see Doug Kemp. Colonel Keith, welcome.
Hello, Larry.
Happy 4th of July weekend.
Nice 4th of July. Glad to be back.
It's an honor. We had Colonel Keith was on with us last year at this time, and we invited him then to be back. And last year he came in from the Carolinas.
I was in South Carolina, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
He slid in here at 7 o'clock. I don't think the police got close enough to give him a ticket.
They escorted me right on in.
yeah, they escorted you all right.
Right.
But it's indeed an honor to have you back with us. If you would share with the folks exactly who, I know who you are, we know you're from Talladega, raised up, but tell them what you do with the National Guard. We're going to get into a couple of things.
I'm full-time with the Alabama Army National Guard. Currently I'm the full-time director and the commander of the Fort McClellan Army National Guard Training Center in Anniston, the former Fort McClellan. That's where the Alabama National Guard has a very large training center, a lot of training areas and facilities and resources to help provide soldiers and military personnel from all over the country to train at our facility.
Colonel, last week I had the honor and the privilege of being at the National Guard Army in Talladega when the troops were getting ready to leave, going to wherever they're going to. I was awed, I was impressed, and I'm very appreciative of the turnout. There were, there were several hundred people there to see the troops off. This is heartwarming, and it lets the folks know that we really appreciate the job that you're doing. The National Guard members don't have to be in the National Guards. It's an all-volunteer organization, and they don't have to do this. They do this because they love their country, they love their community. Share with them a little bit about what's going on with these individuals, and then let's talk about what's going on with the National Guard Army there.
Well, it is the 1st Battalion, 167th Infantry. This is not the first time that the units have deployed since 911. Different line companies have done that over the years, and this is the first time the entire battalion is mobilized and deployed at the same time. The headquarters company in Talladega, the line company in Sylacauga, in Valley, and Pelham, and Coleman, and it's just and in Oxford. They've gone to their mobilization station now, and they'll be there until they get ready for deployment to Afghanistan. They'll be doing security force missions to supporting the national training mission in Afghanistan, and they'll be gone for a year. And we need to continue to pray for them, watch and think about them, and take care of their families and such while they're gone. And that's just what we do.
They will not know exactly where they're going at this time.
The
Later on.
unit, the unit knows where they're going.
They do know where they're going. In conjunction with this activity, you and some other folks shared with me that you're fixing to spend a couple of $1 million, $2.5 million on the National Guard Army there. Share with the folks about this.
Alabama Army National Guard, has armories and cities all over the state, and the one in Talladega has been designated to be refurbished. They're going to gut it, so to speak, and rebuild it and make it a whole lot better than it is. A 1950s era armory, big Jim Folsom era armory, and it's been needing some work for a long time, and this is a great opportunity while they're not here, while they're deployed, to get that armory back up to the way it needs to be, the grounds, the facility. They're going to add square footage to it, and it'll be very, very nice and something the soldiers can be proud of, and the community be proud of when they return.
You shared the other day, and also just a few minutes ago, that there's a strong possibility that the city of Talladega could have a substation, fire police substation there.
Well, it is something that to look at when the facility management officer for the state and the adjutant general and the staff, Joint Force Headquarters, can get together with communities when something is being a brand new armory or some type of facility. This is the type of thing that's happening all throughout the country, where cities and counties and first responders are coming together and trying to consolidate services like that into one location. It's a win-win situation for Army National Guard and the communities that they are in. So we just have to see if that's a possibility at this location.
Well, we're really proud to have the facility here. It lets me know we're spending $2.5 million, that the Army has no plans at this point to do away with the local armory here.
No, and this is something that's planned. This is military construction, and this is something that we're looking forward to, and having that. Me being from Talladega, I used to work there a long time ago. I left the unit here 12 years ago, and I've been working at other locations and such, and now at Fort McClellan, but I still live in Talladega.
I joined the Guards in '59 out there. With Sam Ledbetter, Jimmy Hurst.
I know
all those folks were there forever. And
I joined just a few years after you.
Yeah, a lot of few years after. But it's always been a good unit. You've never had any problem recruiting there?
I don't think so. Of course, since 911, the patriotism is still high, and people want to contribute. People want to help our country, and that's part of it.
Colonel, I can't thank you enough. We encourage folks Wednesday, fly your flag, do everything you can to show support for our troops, for our folks in the military throughout. Anything that we can do to show our support, we need the support. There's some crazy folks in this world that have no use for the military, have no use for religious beliefs and so forth. We need to do everything we can to show our support.
Well, it's Independence Day, but we show our support every day. People
Right.
can fly their flag and be proud of their military, be proud of our country, and it starts at home, and taking care of what's supposed to be taken care of. And our soldiers are precious. It's a small percentage of the population that serve every day, and we need to keep them in our thoughts and prayers. And 4th of July and every day, but 4th of July is a very patriotic time. So
I thank you for, I mentioned this, Miss Bobby Trammell. She called me yesterday, and she said, there's a facility here in this town that's got a flag, they're flying it, but the flag needs to be replaced. She said it's just not completely up to par. You know Miss Bobby,
I understand.
she's a thoroughbred supporter of the military. And she made contact with the folks, and they said, we appreciate you calling this to our attention, and they're putting up a new flag.
You know, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm guilty of that myself. I see something that a flag that has tattered and torn and it's done its job. It's time to replace it. And you know, the local Boy Scouts and other community organizations can help destroy a flag properly. So that's something we all need to look at, I think.
Anything you want to add during this special occasion, or we really appreciate you taking time. I know you're busy, you're running everywhere. We appreciate you. I can look forward to one of these days where you might be over the National Guard in Alabama.
I think I'm where I need to be right now, and I got a couple more years left before I have to get rid of this uniform and do something else.
How much time you got in now?
Right now, just not quite 36 years.
36 years.
So don't know where the time's gone. It's just flying by. You know, I'd like to slow it down a little bit. But the National Guard has been very, very good to me and my family, and it's an honor to serve. And it's a unique opportunity that I have, and I don't take it for granted. So.
Well, on behalf of Benny and all the folks in Talladega, we appreciate your service. We appreciate all of our troops and everyone that, men and women, regardless of branch of service you're in, we appreciate you.
And you know, people all over the place talk about our soldiers. They'll buy their lunch, and you know, the soldiers really appreciate people walking up to them and thanking them for their job.
I've been in the Stampede restaurant.
It's amazing to see that.
Stampede restaurant many a time, and soldiers come in, and Benny and Charlotte will go up to the cash register and pay for the meals.
It's
So
you know,
they put their money where their mouth is.
A lot of people do it anonymously too, and you know, and the soldiers are just, and we pass it on too. We pass it
Right.
down. So
Well, we appreciate you being with us.
thank you very much.
Wish you the best. Any way we can help you, let us know.
Same here.
Folks, we've got to go to a break, and we'll be right back with Mr. Walter Jacobson, running for mayor of Sylacauga.
Sometimes we make mistakes. When this happens, Irish Bail Bonding can and will help you help yourself. Serving all Talladega County, Irish Bail Bonding is family owned and operated. Irish Bail Bonding believes in quick action 24/7. They never close. For quick, honest, and dependable action, call Irish Bail Bonding. If owner Mike McDaniel can't get you out of jail, more than likely you can't get out. Call Irish Bail Bonding and let Mike put your feet back on the street. Planning a get-together, sporting event, or special occasion, let CG's help make the event more enjoyable. CG's can advise you on a favorite champagne or special wine imported from all over the world, as well as from New York and California. Perhaps you'd rather choose a muscadine wine from Alabama. CG's also has a nice selection of the latest in stemless wine glasses or champagne and water glasses. Only at CG's can you obtain your favorite imported beer, party supplies, mixes, and a variety of nuts.
Folks, I want to share with you just for a second here. This right here is pineapple peach mango, and it is probably the best soft drink that you can get anywhere. And what I like to do, Mr. Benny, is I'm not going to drink on TV. I mean, I might get caught drinking and driving. But there's some peanuts that Charlotte's got at her store at CG's. There's all kind of mixed nuts.
Oh, she's got the nuts.
And I. oh. oh.
Everything but San Francisco.
I ain't touching that.
By the way, don't forget a gift for your favorite hostess. Visit CG's, conveniently located in Talladega at the corner of Howard and West. From the time a certified technician arrives at your house or place of business, he goes to work. The life of your heating and cooling system is regular maintenance. When the job is finished, your system runs and looks like new. All work performed by Affordable Heating and Air is guaranteed. Affordable Heating and Air does not claim to be the biggest company in the world, just the best. Call Affordable Heating and Air and make an appointment to have your system inspected. Affordable Heating and Air appreciates your business.
A death is a troubling time for any family. Talladega Funeral Home offers dignity, respect, professionalism, commitment, and fairness to all families in need. We listen carefully. We know that some of us find great comfort in traditions, and we work tirelessly to honor those traditions. Our professional team gets to know each and every family member to help each and every individual remember, share, and ultimately move towards healing. Contact Brittany Boozer at Talladega Funeral Home today, 256-362-0111. Talladega Funeral Home. We care because every life has a story.
Rosemary and
We're
Mark.
back. We're back live.
Listen, I was practicing.
What goes on behind the scenes?
Welcome
folks?
back. Well, since I'm doing such a good job, what'd you say this name was? Let's see. Okay.
Herbert Nellie Bean.
Yeah, Herbert Nellie Bean, 61st anniversary. That is something.
That's a long time to live with one woman or man.
I'm telling you. Rosemary and Mark Sizemore, 27. God, can you imagine that with Rosemary? 27 years. Whew. And Daryl Davis, happy birthday. How'd I do? Oh, Jean.
You
Talk
doing
about
good.
Jean.
And Jean Pierce says she never, we was at Stampede Restaurant Friday night, I guess it was. And Miss Pierce was eating, and she said, we never miss your program. We're watching it constantly. Every time you're on, we watch it. We were up there and they had the fish, Mr. Benny. I mean, big old fish. It wasn't no minnows, it was big fish. And we had the, not fried, grilled.
Grilled.
Oh, it just melt in your mouth. Hush puppies and all those, took that lemon and just spread all over that fish. And Rosemary she is everywhere.
Can you imagine living with her 27 years? No, I can't.
She said Mark couldn't get off to go celebrate the anniversary. I'm not going to tell you what I told her. But anyway, thank you, Miss Pierce. Also, we was at, coming down to Sylacauga tonight, we saw Mr. Tom and Miss Nellie Reese at Sylacauga. They said they never miss our program. And I said, we'll give you a shout out. We appreciate everyone that always watches. And I've got some good news, Mr. Benny. I learned today that Rehab First at McGuffey Healthcare in Gadsden, they have won the Gadsden Times Reader's Choice #1 long-term care facility in Etowah County for 2012. Also for 2012, the Gadsden Times Reader's Choice, their #1 best place to work. That's quite an honor to win these awards. And also 98% of all the rehab patients surveyed say they would recommend Rehab First at McGuffey's Healthcare as a top facility to receive rehab care in Etowah County.
That's pretty good.
And I tell you what, when a newspaper does a survey and the folks have an opportunity to respond without telling who they are, and you get this kind of rating, 98%, that's a pretty good survey.
That wasn't Anniston Star, was it?
That was Gadsden Times, and the 2012 Gadsden Times Reader's Choice, #1 long-term care facility, and #1 best place to work. That's quite an honor. And we appreciate Rehab First for all they're doing. We know most everyone that works there. I know a lot of the folks that work there. And folks, if you need any kind of healthcare facility or healthcare care facility, you contact these folks in Gadsden. And I guarantee you won't be ashamed and you won't be disappointed in the service you get. Mr. Walter Jacobson, I've been waiting a long time to get you here. Running for mayor of Sylacauga.
And here we are.
Welcome.
Glad to be here, Larry. Benny,
Yes, sir.
it's a pleasure.
Mr. Walter Jacobson and Miss Deb watches our program religiously. I probably get in trouble for saying that. They watch it every Sunday night, and Miss Deb has a program on the station here. She's on, I don't know what the name of the program.
Making a difference.
Making the Difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mr. Walter Jacobson is wanting to make a difference in Sylacauga. He's running for mayor of Sylacauga. And Mr. Jacobson, if you would, just, there's a camera. Just tell the folks whatever you want them to know. We might have a question for you. We're going to be nice.
Well, and I appreciate that. But then, as we've said before, nothing is off the table. I'm willing to talk about anything that people want to talk about. But, my decision was to run for the mayor, seek the office, was really based on feeling that I could, in fact, make a difference and help us, help the city see some opportunities that they hadn't, we've missed in the past. I'm a huge proponent of planning. I don't think you can have too many plans. Planning for different contingencies and just having a plan to take advantage of opportunities when they come, because they're coming. And if you've got a plan in place, you're ready to go, then in all likelihood, you're going to get more consideration than somebody that has to go back to the drawing board and search for something to do. So, like I said, that's a huge part of what of my platform is just around planning. And then, of course, accountability. In my opinion, you would run a government just as you run a business. You have to have accountability, you have to have rules, roles, and responsibilities for the employees, and setting your expectations, and then holding people accountable for that. because the customers, you know, of Sylacauga are the citizens. And the only reason you have a city government here is to provide those things for the citizens that they can't provide for themselves.
Amen, amen.
And so, and in my opinion, what city government should do is get in, you do those things for the citizens they can't do for themselves. And it's like in the police, fire, things like that, and get out of the way.
I believe you dropped your microphone there. We want everybody to be able to hear what you've got to say.
All right.
A little closer.
I'll hold it up here
Okay.
then. But, you know, to me, that's where the rubber meets the road, is like, say, meeting the needs of your citizens, but then getting out of the way and making sure that you aren't an obstruction, you know, to the conduct of business.
You're in your first term.
This first term.
You, lot of changes have happened during this time, or some changes have happened. And I'm not trying to throw you a curve, but I recall back years ago, being the mayor of Talladega, we always coveted Sylacauga, I guess, because they were getting the beautification awards, they were getting this, they were getting that. Something has happened through the years, and I'm not trying to be negative, but Sylacauga is not Sylacauga like it used to be.
Well, Larry, you know, just from my 4 years that I've been, almost 4 years on the council, and prior to that, I, you know, was not a newcomer because I had participated in different aspects of the city government, was involved with the Industrial Development Board and some other entities. But to me, it still comes back to lack of planning. If you don't have a master plan out in front of you where you know what you're gonna do and that you can plan to it, then, you know, how are you gonna ever know when you get there? It's kind of like taking a trip without a road map or a GPS. You've got to know where you're going.
We're going to take just a short break and get this microphone fixed, and we'll be right back with Mr. Walter Jacobson, mayor candidate of Sylacauga.
Planning a get-together, sporting event, or special occasion, let CG's help make the event more enjoyable. CG's can advise you on a favorite champagne or special wine imported from all over the world, as well as from New York and California. Perhaps you'd rather choose a muscadine wine from Alabama. CG's also has a nice selection of the latest in stemless wine glasses or champagne and water glasses. Only at CG's can you obtain your favorite imported beer, party supplies, mixes, and a variety of nuts. By the way, don't forget a gift for your favorite hostess. Visit CG's, conveniently located in Talladega at the corner of Howard and West. From the time a certified technician arrives at your house or place of business, he goes to work. The life of your heating and cooling system is regular maintenance. When the job is finished, your system runs and looks like new. All work performed by Affordable Heating and Air is guaranteed. Affordable Heating and Air does not claim to be the biggest company in the world, just the best. Call Affordable Heating and Air and make an appointment to have your system inspected. Affordable Heating and Air appreciates your business.
Elevate your aspirations and stir your creative energy from learning experiences designed to expand your potential and bring out your personal best. Our beautiful historic campus is a quiet place, away from the pace of urban living, and houses the stained glass windows by David Driscoll and the Woodruff murals, including the Amistad series. Talladega College attracts top students nationwide and offers specialized attention that promotes learning, fosters leadership, and cultivates talent. Rise up, Talladega College, producing world leaders since 1867.
A death is a troubling time for any family. Talladega Funeral Home offers dignity, respect, professionalism, commitment, and fairness to all families in need. We listen carefully. We know that some of us find great comfort in traditions, and we work tirelessly to honor those traditions. Our professional team gets to know each and every family member to help each and every individual remember, share, and ultimately move towards healing. Contact Brittany Boozer at Talladega Funeral Home today, 256-362-0111. Talladega Funeral Home. We care because every life has a story.
Welcome back, folks. I'm ready for you. Larry?
We should have drank some of this good mango pineapple juice that Charlotte sells over at the store before we had all this stuff. We may have to fire her if she don't start straightening up.
She could have brought us a bowl of
Peanut. Yeah, she's got a lot of them over at the store. Welcome back, folks. If you just tuned in, we're talking with Mr. Walter Jacobson. He is the present member of the City Council of Sylacauga, and he's a candidate for mayor. They will be qualifying Tuesday. Starts the 3rd, and it will go to the 17th, and I believe the election is the 23rd? 28th.
Yeah.
And this is not only in Sylacauga, it's in all over the state of Alabama with the exception of a few cities. Talladega happens to be an off-year election, and we had our election last year. And I sure am glad we're not having to run this year. But throughout the state of Alabama, there'll be a lot of elections going on, a lot of people making decisions for your mayor, council, and so forth, school board members and so forth. And if you're not a registered voter, you need to go register and you go vote. And if you don't, then you need to keep your mouth shut about who gets elected. This is one of the few privileges that they've not taken away from us yet. Learning to read and being able to vote is a couple of things the government has not taken away from us. And we hope that you will be involved. The election process, I think, is 4 candidates for mayor thus far that's announced. And there are going to be a lot of folks running for city council members. We'll be talking more about that later. And let me point out here that any of you watching, wherever you are in the state of Alabama, if you want to be on this program and be a guest on here and talk about what your plans are and what you want to see done, you're more than welcome. We can't run you down. We're not going to try to run you down to get you. And we'll be respectful to you. We will not try to embarrass you on this program. We may talk about you if you don't come on here, but we welcome you to be on this program. And anything we say or do that you disagree with us, you certainly have a right to come on here and say, I don't agree with you, you're wrong, and here's what the truth is. We welcome you to do this. Mr. Jacobson, it's I know this will be your first time running for mayor. You've been serving for 4 years. There's a lot of issues facing the folks in Sylacauga, just like they are everywhere. Financial difficulties, revenue not coming in maybe like it should, but REEF has been a thorn in your side.
Oh, absolutely.
So to speak. And it's probably going to be an issue during the campaign. What do you see the final outcome of REEF with all this tons of stuff in the ground, the sewage? What do you say about this? What do you think about this?
Well, of course, our hope is that, we can get it cleaned up, that we can get the things that are left in the basins over there, that we can get them shipped out of here, get them processed at some other place, and we can begin remediation. From the city standpoint, we don't have any control over it, but I would think that with the experiences we've had, that if the opportunity comes where we could get that property, to make sure that something like this never happened again, it would certainly be in our interest to do that. And I know there's a lot of legal issues involved with that, from an environmental standpoint and some other things. But, it's, that has really been a thorn in not just our side, but it's been insufferable to the people of Sylacauga, and especially the people that live out in that area. And quite honestly, I would have to say that this was something, the magnitude of it was underestimated initially. That it was one of those things that, it will go away, or it's, they're going to put these covers on the basins, and that's going to contain it. We'll no longer have those issues, and that just didn't happen. It continued, and it even continues today.
All right.
And there's periods of time. So I think that overall, and when I say that, I have to take some responsibility there, because I was a sitting member of the council. Could we have done anything even though we didn't have a legal standing? I don't know. I don't know that we really explored that as much as we should have. And, for that, I've certainly learned a lesson.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I don't think you did either.
Well, like I say, and that's just being right up front with it.
Yeah.
I think the city, of course, I know we kept hearing, it's not in the city limits. It's not in the city jurisdiction, so we have no say-so. A lot of people felt like you control the appointments on the water board, so why could you not put a little bit of pressure on the water board to quit taking it? They finally did quit taking it.
They did quit taking it.
When the heat got on so heavy.
And like I say, and that was part of the reasons for my statement, that I just don't feel like, and I'm certain of it.
We're talking about the county commission, we're talking about the legislator, we're talking about everyone.
We're talking about it.
That could have done something. Yeah,
Very disappointing.
EPA, ADM.
Yeah, as a body, we fail the citizens there. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. What, as the mayor of Sylacauga, what can you do, or what you think you can accomplish that you've not been able to achieve as a council member?
Well, I think the biggest thing that going for the mayor with our form of government being a strong council, weak mayor form of government, is the mayor has somewhat of a bully pulpit, if you will, and to me, he's a leader of the city and is responsible for setting the vision of where you want to go, and then going out to build collaboration to make it happen. And that's one of the things I think we've missed, that we've not really had that vision, that plan out in front of people where they could buy into it. You know, we kind of operate in the real short term. And to me, you know, coming from the business world, that's something that I never found effective.
You had a lot of reaction instead of acting. You've had a lot of reactions.
Been a totally reactive.
I know for the last 3 or 4 years, and of course, as mayor of Talladega through the years, everyone wants to make the paper with good news. We want to say, we've got this coming, we've got this happening, we want to blow our own horns, so to speak. But I've seen a lot of things in Sylacauga that's been said. Going to put up a theater here. Going to be this multi-million-dollar theater coming in town. Well, paper after paper article comes out, the theater coming to town, and it fizzled out. Going to put in this big shopping center. Going to give millions of dollars worth of land and tax breaks to put in a lot of industry, businesses, against what we've already got. I personally, of course, here again, this is y'all's decision now. I personally have a problem with taxpayers, with city council, bonding or financing a shopping center complex against the other businesses.
Well,
That has put in their own money and built their business, but yet we're going to go out here and build it for other folks against our own people.
Well, Larry, what we really and truly were looking at in this particular case was, you know, trying to stop some of the leakage that we have, because a huge amount of money that come from Sylacauga residents winds up in the pockets of the merchants over in Shelby County and on up in Inverness, Birmingham, Oxford, Anniston. And we know that because, you know, we'll go over to the different areas and you ride around and look at the 61 tags, and there's a lot of people there that our dollars are leaving. So in looking at especially 280 and the traffic that goes by there on a daily basis, and how many of those people will just bypass Sylacauga. They'll never stop here. And if you can't get them to stop out on the highway for some reason, you don't have the opportunity to direct them downtown. And one of the things that I'm a huge proponent of is putting that master plan together, where that you can go back and try to redirect some of your traffic that's flowing around your city. You know, bring it back into town. You know, the town is built on a 50s model, and you think about, you know, prior to 280, all of the traffic came right through Sylacauga down Fort Williams.
Just like Talladega.
Exactly. So, you know, you had a captive audience, if you will, because the people were going to have to come there. Well, now if they can zip up and down 280 at 55, 60 miles an hour, you know, and you don't give them a reason to stop, like say you've lost them, you lose their business. And then people over a period of time begin to develop buying habits. And if they get accustomed to buying things in other places, then you've got a hard job ahead of you trying to get them to come back home to spend those dollars.
We, if you just tuned in, we're talking to Mr. Walter Jacobson, council member of Sylacauga, and he will be a candidate for mayor in the upcoming August 28th election. I asked him earlier tonight, we got together a few minutes and had something to drink, soft drink, so forth. Would he and the other council, the mayor candidates, once it's all decided who's going to be running, would they be willing to come on our program as the body, 3, 4, 5, however many is running, and let's do a show and let's just say, hey folks, here we are. Throw out the phone, throw open the phone and call in and talk with them and let them share with each other their thoughts. Mr. Jacobs said he'd be more than glad to. I have talked with Miss Clara Curtis. She's going to be a candidate. She'll also be a guest next week here. She said she'd be more than willing to. I've not talked with Mr. Murphy or Mr. Is it Whetstone?
Whetstone.
Mr. Whetstone.
Bobby Whetstone.
So we don't know at this point who. We'll know on the 17th who all is running. And so just possibly we could do a forum here. And just an idea. I know you're going to have a forum. I believe Miss Carol Bates is having a forum in the chamber.
They're setting that up. But then that's something that I'm a huge proponent of that, because I think the more you can get out in front of the people, they can make a better informed
Need to be
decision.
accessible.
Be accessible, and like I say, you have to have some thick skin. You know that.
You sure do.
You have to have thick skin, and a lot of times, what people are asking you, and they'll do it in an accusing way, but that's based on what they've heard. It's not on firsthand knowledge necessarily, but there's an opportunity for you to dispel that rumor, if that's what it is.
Right. I appreciate you being with us tonight, and maybe we can have you back again. If we don't have you as a group, we can have you back before the election and share with the folks. Mr. Benny, I know that you just burning. Go ahead and ask him where he got his.
Yeah, how much money you got in your campaign? Where'd it come from?
I have got about 300, probably got $300.
You ain't got no PAC money?
And not getting any PAC money. What I've done is, I've made an open solicitation to some people, to see if they wanted to help fund the campaign, and there's been some, and mostly what we were interested in were the small contributors.
I've learned through the years they'll come to you, man, we want you to run. We're behind you 100%.
Oh,
You're the man. You're the man. Give me some money. Well, let us think about it. You may not be the right man to run.
And
so Mayor and I usually just fund our own campaign.
Well, and that's true, and you do hear that quite often. That people say, look, if you run, I'm behind you 100%.
But they don't show up on money day.
That's true.
But the main thing is they go to the polls and vote. That's the key thing. I know you want to tell the folks, ask the folks to vote for you before we go to our break.
Well, and I certainly would. I would appreciate your vote and support, because to me, your input is extremely valuable. If you got an issue that you want to talk about, give me a call and get into contact with me, and we'll sit down. We'll make a time that we can sit and talk about that.
Before we go to break, let me remind you again about Rehab First at McGuffey Healthcare in Gadsden. They have just won the #1 long-term care facility, Gadsden Times Reader's Choice for 2012, and then for Gadsden Times Reader's Choice, Best Place to Work. This is quite an honor, folks, for anyone to receive these kinds of awards. You're voted on by the peers, and 98% of all the rehab patients surveyed said they would recommend Rehab First at McGuffey Healthcare as a top facility to receive rehab care in Etowah County. And we're just honored to have these folks associated with us, and we really appreciate when you need a facility, rehab or long-term care, whatever, we appreciate you contacting these folks in Etowah County and let them know that you appreciate them being part of our program. We've got to go to a break, and we'll be right back with Mr. Ralph Bradford, wanting to be mayor of Calhoun, of Anniston.
Sometimes we make mistakes. When this happens, Irish Bail Bonding can and will help you help yourself. Serving all Talladega County, Irish Bail Bonding is family owned and operated. Irish Bail Bonding believes in quick action 24/7. They never close. For quick, honest, and dependable action, call Irish Bail Bonding. If owner Mike McDaniel can't get you out of jail, more than likely you can't get out. Call Irish Bail Bonding and let Mike put your feet back on the street. Planning a get-together, sporting event, or special occasion, let CG's help make the event more enjoyable. CG's can advise you on a favorite champagne or special wine imported from all over the world, as well as from New York and California. Perhaps you'd rather choose a muscadine wine from Alabama. CG's also has a nice selection of the latest in stemless wine glasses or champagne and water glasses. Only at CG's can you obtain your favorite imported beer, party supplies, mixes, and a variety of nuts.
Folks, I want to share with you just for a second here. This right here is pineapple, peach, mango, and it is probably the best soft drink that you can get anywhere. And what I like to do, Mr. Benny, is I'm not going to drink on TV. I mean, I might get caught drinking and driving. But there's some peanuts that Charlotte's got at her store at CG's. There's all kind of mixed nuts.
Oh, she got the nuts.
And I... oh. Oh, God.
Everything but San Francisco.
I ain't touching that.
By the way, don't forget a gift for your favorite hostess. Visit CG's, conveniently located in Talladega at the corner of Howard and West. From the time a certified technician arrives at your house or place of business, he goes to work. The life of your heating and cooling system is regular maintenance. When the job is finished, your system runs and looks like new. All work performed by Affordable Heating and Air is guaranteed. Affordable Heating and Air does not claim to be the biggest company in the world, just the best. Call Affordable Heating and Air and make an appointment to have your system inspected. Affordable Heating and Air appreciates your business.
A death is a troubling time for any family. Talladega Funeral Home offers dignity, respect, professionalism, commitment, and fairness to all families in need. We listen carefully. We know that some of us find great comfort in traditions, and we work tirelessly to honor those traditions. Our professional team gets to know each and every family member to help each and every individual remember, share, and ultimately move towards healing. Contact Brittany Boozer at Talladega Funeral Home today, 256-362-0111. Talladega Funeral Home. We care because every life has a story.
Welcome back, folks. Now we're going to get to it. Larry?
If you've just tuned in and you didn't hear us talking earlier, this is Mr. Ralph Bradford. He's a mayoral candidate of Anderson. We're going to be talking to Mr. Ralph Bradford in just a little bit and let you find out all about Mr. Ralph Bradford. I've been knowing him for many, many years, longer than I want to tell you.
We shoot marbles.
We ain't going to tell you our age. But before we go to Mr. Bradford, I want to mention we have a gentleman on the phone, Mr. Anthony Devereaux. And Mr. Devereaux talked to me a couple of weeks ago or whatever, and his attorneys talked with me. Anthony was a Stringfellow, was in the Stringfellow Hospital, and he got the accident that caused the greatest injury involved the spill upon his leg and upon his head by a co-worker who was wiping down a bus with a solution Oxy-10. Anthony was positioned below him. The solution was always used clean prior to painting. The rubber gloves would melt, leaving exposed skin. The repeated exposure could no longer be handled after he was in ICU. And it goes on to talk about the dilemma that he's been into. He's filed a suit against the company on this accident, and this has been going on about 6 or 7 years, Mr. Benny. Mr. Devereaux is on the phone. Mr. Anthony, you there?
I'm here, sir.
Just briefly, if you would, just tell us, we know about the injury. You was working for this company, and you got this compound, you got this juice or whatever you call it on you, liquid.
Yes.
And it exposed you.
Oxy-10.
And you was exposed to the toxins and the spill upon your body. The supervisor denied you to go home and change clothes, do the saturation to your legs and bodies of these toxins. You was hospitalized in ICU. How long have you been fighting this case in court, Mr. Anthony?
It's 7 years now. 7 years.
That's something wrong. That's something
That's
wrong.
your judicial system in Calhoun
Well, I
County.
understand it. The accident wasn't even reported to OSHA.
Your company didn't report it to OSHA?
Oh no. It's like a cover up.
What's the name of the company?
Is why after all this time, nothing had been done. Not one thing other than holding off, letting me go before the people of my peers.
Now this company was Navy?
Yes, this is with Navy.
Navy, okay.
What do they do?
They make, what do they do, Mr. Anthony?
What they do is they get shell buses, and they make them for every country that's contracted. Let's say in the United States, say Miami bus, Metro, and if it's Detroit buses or what have you, we have an obligation to get a certain amount of buses out, and it's under a contract that parts have to be made in the USA.
Mr. Mr. Devereaux goes on to talk about that he went to court. Many witnesses testified in court that they saw what happened, and but the judge basically has ruled against you, hasn't he?
More or less, yes, sir. Yes, sir. He's offset this case for many years, and matter of fact, he's placed some of this on the back where they renumbered files just to get to it last and try to wear me and my attorney out, going to summary dockets that some of them we wasn't even supposed to be at, but he still refused us a hearing or a trial there.
Mr. Devereaux, you got a good attorney.
Now, what judge is this, Larry?
What's the judge's name? What court are you in?
Judge John Thomason.
Judge John Thomason?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's in Calhoun County.
We've heard that name before, haven't we?
Beg your pardon?
Mr. Judge Thomason, he's a judge in Calhoun County.
Yes, he is.
You have a good attorney, Ms. Barbara.
That's correct.
Yeah, she's
She's
a
an
fun.
excellent attorney.
Miss
Fine
Deborah,
lady and respectable.
I appreciate you being with us. What we'll try to do, I know you've been in the hospital. We don't want to wear you down. But when you get to feeling better, we'll try to get you on here and let you bring us up to date on what's going on.
Will do. As my body get better to come before you, I'll be glad to lay it out for you. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
I thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yep.
So, Moore, you're a Calhoun Justice.
Yeah, I've got some of the PCBs the same way.
Welcome.
How you doing, Larry?
This is
How you doing?
All right, buddy.
This is Mr. Ralph Bradford. Mr. Ralph and I go way, way back. I mean, we've gone through the battles together, and
We had black hair, remember? You remember that?
yeah, you done got the meddling now. I just wish I had some hair. Mr. Ralph Bradford, we've seen him go through personal sickness with his family, with his wife. She had cancer, long-term cancer. She finally died, and Mr. Ralph stuck with her. He was there 24/7.
Yep.
He worked during this time. He'd go do what he had to do, and he's back home. He runs a daycare center. He's got, 35, 40 children, 50? How many?
About
About that many. He got a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And he's been around Anderson, Calhoun County for years. I guess all his life, maybe. Most
Well,
of it.
I came back in the late 80s, early 90s.
What, Ralph, what makes you want to be, why are you running for mayor of Anderson?
Well, Larry, like you, I've been involved in politics for a lot of years, over 30 years of experience in Alabama politics. And if you got 30 years of experience in Alabama politics, then you know politics. The main thing is our city has suffered greatly under the PCBs and all of that. We have a division there economically, politically, and educationally. And it has hurt our city over the years. Now we have a new era in Anderson where African Americans are the majority. We're going to have to, what we're looking forward to is taking Anderson to the next level. Want to pick up where the recent majority left off at and continue to make Anderson grow. One of the ways that we're going to have to do that, Larry, is focus on education. Education is the number one priority that we have to have with our children there. We have to have economic equality. We just can't continue to allow one side of our city grow while the other side just withers and die. We're going to have attention in all of the wards. We have 4 wards. The mayor position is basically a councilman at large. One of the things that we haven't had for years there is someone with leadership ability with a vision. And my vision of Anderson, Larry, is that Anderson is a beautiful city. Everybody knows that.
It sure is.
A very beautiful city. She's had a rocky history, but I love Anderson. Two of our greatest resources in Anderson are our people and our trees, Larry.
Right,
We
beautiful
come
trees.
down Quintard, we have people that comes through the city just driving from out of town, and they write back to our local newspaper. I won't call the name, Larry, but the local newspaper, and talks about how beautiful Anderson is. We know that, and we want to also display to the world that Anderson people are just as beautiful as the city is. We've had problems there. We've had a little turmoil on our city council, but hey, that's politics. Politics is the other way. So what I want to do, I want to focus attention on the next generation. With Anderson being a majority African American, that means that unfortunately, because of divided politics, we have a population that are poor. Anderson now has a large segment of poor people in the population. What we're going to have to do, Larry, our schools are dwindling with numbers by number with children like a lot of other cities are doing. First thing we're going to have to do is to stop the dwindling of our young people leaving our city.
Why are they leaving? Why are they leaving
because
the school?
they don't see many opportunities.
We have the problem in Talladega sometimes with they'll go through the first 6 grades, but then they go everywhere else for the.
Well, because they see the lack of opportunity and it's not meeting it. And I'm going to tell you this. People that is very fortunate enough to have the money to leave, gonna leave. Then we have a lot of people who doesn't have the money. They want to leave because it's not that they dislike Anderson. Anderson is not offering them what they need, and that is a quality education for their children. Even poor people wants quality education for their children. The way out of poverty is through education. So we want to focus upon education. One of the things we're going to have to do, Larry, we as a politician, we like to say, Well, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna bring jobs in. Us politicians, we love to say that. But in our city, it's gonna be harder to bring jobs in when you don't have a skilled workforce. We have to develop a skilled workforce. Once we are able to develop a skilled workforce, companies will come. Company will be interested in coming because the first thing they're gonna ask, okay, you want us to come to your city, what type of workforce do you have for my company to move there? Right. And so we're gonna have to take time out, look at the next generation, work with the next generation of young people, and make sure that they are qualified to do these jobs. We have to increase their income for these young people. And the other thing, Larry, we're gonna have to give incentives to keep young people to wanna live there.
Right.
You know, one of the incentives are, Larry, in my neighborhood, I live in a nice neighborhood in Anniston. We have homes for sale, new homes. But unfortunately, the young people there, by the jobs that they work, does not have the income to buy homes. Now, Larry, we have to have young people buying homes if our city is to survive. Right. When we make it possible for young people, it doesn't matter if they work at whatever restaurant. They should be able to make an income to be able to afford a home. Too many of our young people are living in what they call projects. We have got to get them out of there. We have got to get people buying homes and make it possible for people to purchase homes, because when they purchase homes, that's property tax, isn't it, Larry?
That's right.
A city can have property tax. When you have too many of your young people living in public housing, that's not good. Children, my wife used to say, children deserve to have their own yard. And so what we're trying to do is make it possible. As mayor, there's other programs. Look, we know the housing market is hurting, right? So there should be some affordable housing out there right about now, shouldn't it? Right. So with bright leadership, hopefully with the type of leadership, we can find those programs that can make it possible for these young people to be able to buy a home and afford a home at a price that they can afford.
If you just tuned in, it's Mr. Ralph Bradford, mayor candidate for Anderson. We got to go to a break. We'll be right back with another couple of questions. Mr. Benny's going to ask him where he got his money from.
Have some more.
Planning a get-together, sporting event, or special occasion, let CG's help make the event more enjoyable. CG's can advise you on a favorite champagne or special wine imported from all over the world, as well as from New York and California. Perhaps you'd rather choose a muscadine wine from Alabama. CG's also has a nice selection of the latest in stemless wine glasses or champagne and water glasses. Only at CG's can you obtain your favorite imported beer, party supplies, mixes, and a variety of nuts. By the way, don't forget a gift for your favorite hostess. Visit CG's, conveniently located in Talladega at the corner of Howard and West. From the time a certified technician arrives at your house or place of business, he goes to work. The life of your heating and cooling system is regular maintenance. When the job is finished, your system runs and looks like new. All work performed by Affordable Heating and Air is guaranteed. Affordable Heating and Air does not claim to be the biggest company in the world, just the best. Call Affordable Heating and Air and make an appointment to have your system inspected. Affordable Heating and Air appreciates your business.
Elevate your aspirations and stir your creative energy from learning experiences designed to expand your potential and bring out your personal best. Our beautiful historic campus is a quiet place, away from the pace of urban living, and houses the stained glass windows by David Driscoll and the Woodruff murals, including the Amistad series. Talladega College attracts top students nationwide and offers specialized attention that promotes learning, fosters leadership, and cultivates talent. Rise up, Talladega College, producing world leaders since 1867.
A death is a troubling time for any family. Talladega Funeral Home offers dignity, respect, professionalism, commitment, and fairness to all families in need. We listen carefully. We know that some of us find great comfort in traditions, and we work tirelessly to honor those traditions. Our professional team gets to know each and every family member to help each and every individual remember, share, and ultimately move towards healing. Contact Brittany Boozer at Talladega Funeral Home today, 256-362-0111. Talladega Funeral Home. We care because every life has a story.
Welcome back. Now, this fellow says he wants you vote. Now, we're going to find out if he deserves it. We're going to ask him some questions, Larry.
Ralph, I read the Anderson Star regular every day. I like to keep up with the surrounding areas. In the news last few weeks, few months, of course, they'd like to say that Ben Little is the problem. Ben Little only has one vote.
That's right.
One vote. And everybody can outvote him if they want to. But yet they like to jump on Ben. Ben has fought this $15 million expenditure for a jail, a public building, whatever it's going to be. How do you justify spending? I think it'll cost 25 or 30 million before it's over. I don't think that 15. I think it's going to keep going. They're going to have a change order. They're going to have a change order.
I got a question.
But okay.
Is there one person in Anniston that's supporting this $15 or $20 million jail? Is there one person that knows how much it's going to cost to maintain it?
Operate it once it's built.
Right.
But how do you justify spending 15?
You're going to have to arrest a bunch of people and give a bunch of speeding tickets.
But the thing about it, Mr. Benny, on a city jail, they're in and out.
That's right.
You don't house them. You house felonies.
That's right.
You may have a few city folks that'll stay there more than 24 hours. But how do you justify spending $15 million
You're going to have to arrest a bunch of
for a
people.
jail?
All right.
What you got?
Well,
how many people you got in Anderson? 25,000 people?
No, less than 24,000. Less than 24,000, $15 million jail. Now, I'm on the Anderson Public Building Board that's overseeing the construction of this jail. I did not vote for this jail. I know that we need a new jail because we're having problems with the old one. We have raw sewage coming down in the police offices downstairs and stuff, so we know we need a new jail. We tried to talk to the councilmen and the mayor and the rest of them that say, hey, you know, this is too much money. But, you know, another thing. Now, whenever you're going to build a project like this, the city of Anniston, instead of having open bids for the project, the city of Anderson let it be known that they're going to spend $15 million for a jail.
So you
right
folks are
off the
going to
bat.
bid on it, going to tell you what they're going to
They told you right off they're going to spend $15 million.
If you got a car for sale for $10,000, you're telling me I'll take $10,000.
That's right. That's right. And so there was no open bid process, in our opinion, you know, because it was said right off the bat, we're going to spend $15 million for a new jail. And so the contractors would say, hey, you know, I can build it for $14,999,000.
In the paper this week in Anderson Star, they're talking about Ben and Mr. Palmore is talking about fixing the streets. Some of the streets are in deplorable condition. And they want to take some of the money that's in reserve. And I understand they got millions of dollars in reserve. How do you justify $millions in a bank account and you won't fix the streets?
Well, you can't, like I said, there's no justification for any of this. The $15 million for the jail, no. We even talked to them about a $5 million jail. There was other cities from Oklahoma, people, when Councilman Little goes to a lot of these conferences that they have.
He's involved.
And there was other councilmen from other parts of the country showing him information where they had a jail built for $5 million in a 100-bed jail. We were spending $15 million, and the original size of the beds we were going to have was going to be less than 100 beds. Now they tell me we will have 100 beds, you know.
Sounds like something like that $75 million that's missing out of the
there
county
you
courthouse.
go, Benny. There you go. Now you know you're bringing up the PCB thing, and you know that's a thorn in people's side there.
In case you've just tuned in, you're watching Mr. Ralph Bradford, or listening to Mr. Ralph Bradford. He's a candidate for mayor of Anderson, and we've got another couple of minute and a half to. We want to let him ask for your votes. We got another question we want to ask him, but let me, in case you've just tuned in, I want to share with you about Rehab First at McGuffey Healthcare in Gaston, Alabama. They have just won the 2012 award, Gaston Times Reader's Choice, #1 long-term care facility in Etowah County. They've also was presented award 2012 Gaston Times Reader's Choice, #1 best place to work, and 98% of all the rehab patients surveyed say they would recommend Rehab First at McGuffey Healthcare as the top facility to receive rehab care in Etowah County. We appreciate them, and we're honored that they're a part of this program. Mr. Ralph, we've got less than a minute.
Okay.
Ask for the votes, and we'll have you back for election.
Okay. I'm running for mayor of the city of Anderson because I believe in my hometown. I love my city. I think we have a beautiful city. We just need a little vision, how we want to lead our city. I would focus a lot of attention on the new generation of leaders in our town for the future to come.
We're out of time. See y'all next week. Thank you for tuning in. We'll have Miss Claire Curtis next week.
Being unplugged. Tune in again next Sunday night from 7 to 8 for more In the Interest of the People with Larry and Benny. Have a great week and be safe. We'll see you next time.